Hi! Thank you very much for tuning back in. My name is Fonny. In my channel, I talk about my houseplant and my Hoyas. Today, it is another episode of Hoya Bloom series. It will be slightly different than the other ones that I've showed you because normally I only feature one single Hoya in each of the episode. However, today I am featuring two different Hoya in the same video. It is because I suspect it is actually the same Hoya. So after watching this video, please let me know in your comment down below to tell me that what do you think? Do you think two of these different species that I obtained are actually the same Hoya? It would be very helpful for me to learn more about the Hoyas that I own. So without further ado, I am going to show you which two Hoya I'm going to tell you about today. It is the Hoya that I'm holding here. On the left, this one is Hoya Noona yellow that I got from Camilla around under 2 months ago. This one over here is Hoya Davidcumingii that I got from RCM Plant Export around October, November last year. Today in this video, I'm going to show you side by side, describing both of them at the same time because I suspect, based on the flower and the shape of the leaves, I believe it could be the same plant that we're talking about. So start off with the first part. How long does it take to flower the first time for each species? So for this one over here, Noona, I only got it as a cutting 2 months ago from Camilla. As you can see here from the reference, I got it as an 8 to 9 leaf cutting. It grows super well. The first kind of air roots that I saw pushed out within a day. So it's really prolific when it comes to the growth and the adaptation as a cutting to my environment. So as you can see here, the flower pushed out under 2 months. So it only took me 2 months to grow this flower of Hoya Noona. However, on the another side, this one over here, Davidcumingii, I got it as import from RCM Plant Export around 8 months ago. And this is the first time I see it flower. So for this one, it took me 8 to 9 months, even though it is sold as a mature plant and I got it as a plant. But if you have checked out my previous video, this is one of the cutting that I actually propagated from the main plant. And so in that perspective, this one is actually from a propagation from a few node of a stem. And now it is a full plant. You can also check out my top 10 favorite Hoya. I also featured this one in that video. So now we then move on to the Peduncle Formation. For both of them, it only takes around a month to form from a tiny node all the way until the flower that you see here. So if you can see the video reference, this one here is the 1 week growth of the peduncle. It started off really small, just like any Hoyas that I have showed you in this Hoya Bloom series. However, for both of them, I recognize the peduncle length is relatively short, especially for Hoya Noona. If you see here, the length of the peduncle is like 8 millimeter or 5 millimeter. This one is slightly longer, maybe 1.5 long for the peduncle length. But yeah, and after a week, I start seeing the formation of the bud. Both of them looks yellow when it starts growing bigger and bigger. In the second week here, you can see that it started growing an obvious bud formation. Nothing that you can see very obvious on the shape. But in the third week, now you can see the shape is slightly bell shape. It's not completely rounded like other ones that I've showed you. And in the 4th week, that's the week when we see the flower right now, you can see that the flower is relatively similar in the size of the other Hoya Bloom I showed you in this channel, with similar size of leaves like that. Yeah, so it is a very nice Hoya to see how it grow from a tiny dot all the way to a bell shape of a bud. Then we move on to the flower shape. As you can see the close up here, this one I am holding is sold as Davidcumingii, but if we take a closer look, it actually just looks like this one over here, Hoya Noona. If you look into this flower, is basically identical. So I would vote for these two plants being the same. If you look in here, both of the plant has same flowers and very similar scent. And if we look into the flower shape, both of them has a relatively thin corolla, I would say, and the corolla is not completely opened. It is slightly like a bell shape. If you look in the side, it opened up maybe 50%. Both of them, as you can see here at the back, it just opened 50% for Hoya Noona yellow, and for this one in front as well. And with regard to the corona, it is the similar color, yellow as well. And just to confirm, this one is also having a yellow corona as well. And the flower umbel is relatively, I would say, regular size as this kind of Hoyas that I have. It's around, I would say, 2 to 2.5 centimeters large, and the flower itself is relatively small as well. And if you look into the comparison of the leaves, both of the plants are very similar, just that the way it's sun stressed is different, because this one here, you can see for Hoya Noona, the one that I'm pointing on my thumb, this one has sun stress within the leaf. It almost has a kind of red rim on the edge, and if it has even more light, it even gets into the vein. But for Hoya Davidcumingii, sold as, the sun stressing way is different. This one has bleach in the middle, and on the edge it retains the green coloration. So I would say the foliage is very similar in shape, but the way it's sun stressed, it's slightly different. Could be it's the same hybrid, but different clone. That's my anticipation. Please let me know if you have more information about these two plants or this one particular plant. Just for fun, I want to give you the look of the comparison of Huskilliana over here. The reason why I want to compare these both is because the scent of Hoya Noona and also Davidcumingii are very similar to Huskilliana. So let's take a look at the flower. This one over here is Hoya Noona / Davidcumingii yellow form. This one over here is Huskilliana. Let's take a look. So If you see the flower shape, it is very different. Hoya hirschkeliana is much smaller, but the reason could be due to the corolla not completely opened. And also the coloration is different. Hirschkeliana, it's more orange undertone, but then for Davidcumingii, it is very yellow in color. So yeah, I would say it could actually be a hybrid for the yellow form over here. I spoke with Camilla, telling her that I feel like the scent smells so similar to Hirschkeliana. And then she said that she wouldn't rule out the possibility that Noona / Davidcumingii with yellow flower are actually a hybrid of Hirschkeliana. But regardless, both of them looks really candy-like, and it's very nice to keep as a ornament plant at home, because the leaf itself, I would say it's not very different, but Hirschkeliana would be a little bit more stiff, thicker in the leaf, and also it's more compact in the growth pattern. But if you look into Davidcumingii or Noona, it is a very nice plant as a hanging plant, because it looks very nice in the structure. It has a little bit more space in between, so then if you hang it up, it will look very beautiful naturally. And for Hirschkeliana, it's more like a compact form of growth pattern. It's just very, very bushy. So it would also be nice to be a basket plant. And then the ones that hang below would be with the bigger bulk of leaves, I would say. Just to have a comparison between the flower size between Hoya Noona and Mathilde. One flower is probably 1/4 of the size of Hoya Mathilde, of Hoya Noona. And if you compare with slightly similar size of Hoya lacunosa at the back, Hoya Noona actually have a slightly bigger flower, but the umbel itself is smaller. If you look from the top, it's a very nice view, isn't it? Yeah, so I think Hoya Noona would be a pretty special flower compared to the ones that I have. And it makes it a very nice combination of all of my flowers that I have flowered right now. Then we move on to the scent. And that is the reason why, apart from the flower shape, I suspect both of them are the same plant. It's also related to the scent, because, let me sniff. Both of them smells identical, and they look identical as well. I would argue this one is a different plant. However, it could be a different clone because the flower is slightly larger, just very, very slightly larger. And they smells very sweet. It's almost like Burtonier, but stronger than Burtonier. So I would actually say it smells almost identical to Hirschkeliana, that has a really strong caramel scent. And just imagine, these is only 2 flowers that I have in my Milspo cabinet. When I open my Milspo cabinet, I can immensely smell super strong caramel candy smell. So they are very strong in the scent, but a very pleasant one, so it is good. Then we move on to the flowering duration. Now this one is the 2nd day of it opened. This one is the 1st day for it to open. So I will leave a comment down below in this video to let you know how long it lasted for. We move on to the Peduncle Nature. These two, they are very buddable peduncle, because you can see, for example, this one here, it actually grow from an existing peduncle that is provided by Camilla to me when I got it as a cutting. So this one is grown in the existing peduncle. For this one, I grow the entire new peduncle under my condition, so I haven't really seen it rebud. However, based on the nature of the peduncle shape and also the texture, and also if it is actually the same plant, this is also a rebuttable peduncle, which is awesome. Then we move on to an additional part that I would like to share with you is the care tips. So for both of them, I put it in my Milspo cabinet. The humidity level is between 60 to 92% for most of the time. And I have very strong light. I can show you more in detail. If you check out my other video about my Milspo setup, then you can see all of the light, what brand I use, and how much distance I have, how much distance I have above the plant. And with regard to the temperature, it is between 24 to 31. Yeah, so I would say it is an optimal kind of environment that I can give to my Hoyas. Yeah, so this is everything that I know about these two Hoya, potentially the same Hoya. Hoya Noona, yellow, and Hoya Davidcumingii with yellow flower. If you have any question that you want to ask me with regard to these two Hoyas, please leave your comment down below so we can discuss further. And as I mentioned, don't forget to leave a comment down below if you also think these two are actually the same plant. If you are interested in this type of content and you don't want to miss out next time when I posted similar content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out next time when I post a similar video or anything related to my other houseplant. Also, if this is a video that you liked and you want to see me producing similar content in the future, don't be shy and hit the like button and share this video with your friends. Until next time, I wish everyone is having a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.